Hello.
Welcome back.
Oh, my nose is suddenly itchy. Sorry. I suddenly got a
That's
little
a good
itchiness.
that's a good way to start. So
Sorry. Yes, so today's topic is mindfulness. And of course, you'll have seen that the title of this video is Mindfulness Doesn't Work. And what we're saying, what we're going to explain is mindfulness doesn't work unless certain things. And Steve, you not only practiced mindfulness, but you taught mindfulness for 10 years, and yet you still suffered from extreme anxiety, right?
yeah, exactly. And so again, the point, my experience, is that mindfulness for me, I engaged in mindfulness as a really life-changing event.
Mm-hmm.
When I first started doing mindfulness, and this was probably heading on 20 years ago
Oh,
now
wow.
that I got started doing mindfulness back in a time when mindfulness was still not as culturally acceptable. Now it's like everything. We see it everywhere. It's in the boardrooms. People are practicing it. In all of the, you know, all of the all over the business world. It's
Which is a great thing. That's a good
absolutely,
start. Yeah.
absolutely. And to say that mindfulness didn't work is a bit off in that.
Well, and here's what I mean by mindfulness didn't work. And this is, I want to make sure that I explain this because otherwise, it looks like the title was like clickbait or something,
Yeah.
but it's not. I genuinely mean mindfulness didn't work because you still had extreme anxiety. If mindfulness, sorry, I just
Yeah,
want to finish
yeah,
up.
yeah,
If
absolutely.
if mindfulness had worked,
Hmm.
you wouldn't have suffered from that debilitating, because there were some mornings when you woke up and you couldn't do anything
Hmm.
despite the mindfulness.
Yeah.
And sorry, that was
Hmm.
one thing. And then the second thing is
Hmm.
that it didn't help you get different results
Yeah.
in your business. And
Yeah.
this is really important, that it didn't change how you did business. It didn't change the results you got in your business. You still lost your business
Hmm.
despite the mindfulness. And I think that's why I'm saying it didn't work for the results that you wanted.
Right, right. So I think being clarifying those points, mindfulness was a great entree for me
Yes.
into doing this work. It was absolutely at the time a very effective coping strategy. It was
Mm-hmm.
something that I didn't have as a kid, and it was something that I was able to utilize that was putting a band-aid perhaps
Mm-hmm.
on things. And I also don't want to it, what's the word I'm looking for, negate effects that other
Mm-hmm.
or results that other people might be getting
Mm-hmm.
from mindfulness. The point here is that because of the unconscious references, because
Mm-hmm.
of what it was that I was holding on to, the things that were there in my subconscious mind that were the triggers
Mm-hmm.
for that anxiety, the mindfulness wasn't addressing that. It
Yeah.
wasn't changing that. So
Right.
it wasn't until I started doing the work to change those references
Yeah.
that I could actually see different results. Now, my experience with mindfulness was that um, I was able to, maybe bring down some of, the stress in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
But again, when my life ran up against some life events, some life circumstances that threw me into, kind of that uh, what's the word I'm looking for? That really that dark time.
Mm-hmm.
It
Mm-hmm.
and that was around 2016 when I really felt like, despite everything that I was trying to do with mindfulness, I was waking up
Mm-hmm.
a lot of mornings with panic attacks and feeling like I was just in that debilitating place of anxiety and not being able to turn that around.
Mm-hmm.
So, um, go ahead.
When you're finished.
No, it was just it's just that the when I was able to start addressing and changing the unconscious references that were there for the anxiety in my childhood and started to make those kind of shifts and changes, it's not that I abandoned the mindfulness techniques.
Absolutely, yeah.
You know, because I still utilized the mindfulness techniques to be able to help moderate what I was feeling. But it was, now that I was making those shifts, it was making an automatic change internally. I wasn't waking up with those panic attacks. I wasn't experiencing the level of anxiety as much as I was beginning to do this work.
Right. And I know that when we met, so Steve and I met in February 2017, and I know that during that period, the beginning of 2017, when we were together, or the kind of the middle of, up to the middle of it, I know that you would wake up in the morning in that state, and it was amazing how I couldn't pull you out of it, and you couldn't pull yourself out of it, obviously, but even I couldn't pull you out of it. And it would take a period of time of talking you through, and often physical exercise, in order for you to bring those stress chemicals down and start and getting out of that emergency state. So what we're talking about is not just like a little bit of concern or worry, or like a light anxiety. It's that kind of anxiety. Just right. I mean, you were like, can I tell them the story of the? Oh no, I won't if you don't want to. You know the one I mean.
Yeah, let's just say that, you know,
it's cute
when the prefrontal cortex goes offline, it goes offline. Yeah, no, it's okay if you do, but you know, I'm also aware that, you know, not everybody is experiencing this level, that level of anxiety. It could be the type of debilitating anxiety where you're just having these thoughts that are popping up throughout the day that are having an impact on you moving forward in what you're doing, whatever that business is, whatever you're trying to move forward in. If you're feeling some level of anxiety that's causing a procrastination, it's causing doubt, it's causing whatever blocks or resistance there, it's not allowing you to move forward in your life. So
yeah, and absolutely, and what's happening in the background. So I want to say as well, if you are using mindfulness and it works for you, fantastic, that's great, continue to do that. So this is for the reason we're doing this video is for people who have been trying to do it. You know, they've been using mindfulness, and it's not working for them. They're not feeling better. They're not able to break those patterns. They're not able to get the results they want from it. So maybe helping a little bit, but like it was for you, but it's not getting the results. And the reason is what's going on in the background is that as you are using mindfulness, so you're focusing on, you know, on the practice, in the background, the unconscious part of your brain is referring to childhood references, so implicit childhood memories or unconscious childhood memories that prove who you are and how the world works, your unconscious self-image and worldview. And then that part of your brain is pumping stress chemicals into your system in response to those memories. So as you can do mindfulness all day, but if your brain contains proof you're in danger, or you're not worthy, or you know, you're not good enough, or whatever happens to be in your childhood that you are consciously unaware of, it's still going to continue to pump stress chemicals into your system regardless of what mindfulness or any other techniques you use. And it's like, I came up with an analogy this morning when I made this post on LinkedIn, is it's like trying to convince someone to sit down and have a cup of tea while they can see that the house is on fire. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
no, calm, calm, have a cup of tea, but they're looking at the flames. And so the unconscious part of your brain thinks that you're in danger, and it's pumping stress chemicals into your system as a result or as a response. So it's the stress chemicals that are causing that state, not your conscious intention.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
for other people who who either don't have those references, or the stress chemicals aren't as high yet, then they can do the mindfulness and it'll work, because that'll bring the stress chemicals down, produce feel good chemicals. But the challenge here is that stress chemicals like adrenaline and cortisol that cause those negative emotions are stronger than feel good chemicals because they're for survival. So when you've got a high level of those stress chemicals in your system, it's much more difficult to feel the feel good chemicals because the stress chemicals are stronger. So there's that piece. And then the other piece is patterns. So in business, for example, it's as your brain is referring to your childhood that proves it's dangerous to be successful, or if I have money, my father won't like me, or whatever, I'm not good enough, whatever references are there, it's affecting your judgment and your decisions, and what seems like a good idea and what doesn't seem like a good idea, and whether you're willing to take action and what action you take. All of that is affected by your childhood memory. So mindfulness doesn't help with that piece.
Yeah, it certainly it can certainly help to mask, or you can kind of push through some of those kind of things. But in order to make a more permanent change,
Yeah.
it really is essential to go back and to be able to change those references. And that's the empowering bit about this, is that we can 100% change those references. We're not we even though we've experienced or carried those around for most of our lives, those feelings, those beliefs, those patterns, we don't have to stay stuck. We don't have to be married to those old feelings.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the challenge, or the empowering part, to be able to do that. And once you're able to do that, once
Mm-hmm.
you're able to make those changes, then those triggers that were there, that were producing the anxiety to begin with,
They're not there anymore.
They're not there.
Yeah.
And that is one of those really kind of weird experiences initially. It's like, to know that you've been anxious most of your life, and then to realize that isn't there anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And it takes a little bit of practice to just get used to living into a new state. And I guess that's, what we're about. That's our mission. That's what we're doing. All of the work that we're doing is to try to, to be able to empower others to be able to do that type of work.
Now, yeah, and what I wanted to add there is what mindfulness can be helpful with is helping to bring those stress chemicals down in the moment, so that you can do the rest of the work, the changing, finding those memories and changing them. So it can help with that. And what I wanted to add is that now when you use mindfulness, of course it's effective. You can do it because you've changed those memories. So there's no longer the that extreme survival state going on.
No, I still rely upon, or still utilize, mindfulness as a daily tool. It's something that I work in, with doing work with individual clients and that kind of thing. So definitely a powerful coping technique and a skill,
but not enough.
Right.
I really want to make that point. It's enough to, I don't know, take a sip of water, but it's not. No, I can't think of an analogy. It's not enough. I think that's so important to end on. That yes, it can, it can do a certain amount. And the reason I really want to make that point and end on that point is because this video is not for people who find mindfulness effective.
Absolutely.
This video is for people who've tried it and couldn't get the results they wanted. This is to encourage you that it's because there's something in the background that needs changing first. And I've just posted, I've just put the little banner up. So we have a free masterclass that goes through all the details of what those references are, and how to change them, how we changed ours, so that we now get different results. And we also have a live webinar coming up on July 9th. So if you see this video before then, the link is in the description for that as well, if you'd prefer to attend that. I think that's it, right?
Yep.
Is that it?
Wonderful.
All right. See you next time. Lots of love.
Bye for now.
Bye-bye.